Hello, and it is the me, Game Penguin 21, and today, well, it's about that time that you start calling me a liar, because, yeah, absolutely. I said that this week would be 100% Harmon Smith week, but to be honest, there was something big that did actually happen in this context, and I have to talk about it, because if I don't, I'm going to be upset. And that is that, well, last week, the winners of the 2023 Steam Awards were announced, and obviously the 2023 Steam Awards, at least this year, with people being all hypercritical about the regular Game Awards, every single person has now become super critical of these awards. And the one award that everyone has been talking about has been the Innovative Gameplay Award, because that was won by Starfeild, of all the games. Now, I was going to originally go out and clown on some people doing some tweets and stuff, but I was sent a screenshot of someone who I haven't talked about on this channel, at least not ad nauseum as I have others. And, seeing as this is a new year, time for a new face! That one being DreamCast Guy. If you don't know who DreamCast Guy is, well, DreamCast Guy is essentially a Sony fanboy, oddly enough, who basically has some very, we'll say, interesting takes when it comes to specific aspects of anything, really. But overall, he had a few things to say on this situation having to do with Starfeild and him going over the actual winners of the Steam Awards and everything else. So, rather than me talking about the tweets, I'm going to react to his reaction of these tweets, give my own opinion on it, and then basically just clown on Dreamcast Guy, because that sounds much easier of a way to do things. Anyway, but before we get started, I just do want to say, very quickly, I am looking to get to 1K subscribers this year. If you would like to help me with that whole thing, please, please, please like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down below and stuff like that, because I want to hit 1K by the end of this year. I know we can do it. I'm probably going to bother you the rest of this month. Anyway, sorry for the long intro. Let's get started. We're going to actually skip past the first 40-ish seconds because that's just his intro and him talking about the situation. So we're going to skip past that.
But let's take a look at the winners themselves. Game of the Year being Baldur's Gate, that makes perfect sense. But once you start to go past that top chart, these are pretty strange. Best Steam Deck game being Hogwarts Legacy. I mean, almost every single one of these, you can tell that people picked just to be silly. Labor of Love, Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, you know, the game that got no updates, no patches. Clearly, these are trolls.
Or they could just be there for the brand recognition, because they were some of the only big-name titles that were in the finalists for all of them. Just for a quick comparison here, here's the finalists for each of those games really quickly, just so you're aware as to what they were talking about. So continuing on.
Some of these definitely deserve their spots. Best Game with Friends, Lethal Company, absolutely. But some of this stuff, most innovative gameplay is the part that everybody is discussing the most. Look, I don't like Starfeild. I think the game is mediocre at best, but even if you do love the game, you cannot possibly say it's innovative. Are you freaking kidding?
Yes. I mean, yeah, absolutely. You can't say that it's innovative, but obviously speaking, you being who you are, we know that you don't like Starfeild or anything like that. For the obvious reasons. So, yeah. But at the same time, there's plenty of other problems with that whole Steam Award thing. But here's the big thing, right? You're mad because Starfeild actually won an award. Other people are mad because Starfeild, well, won the award in the innovative gameplay category. Now, again, I won't say that it's not at least somewhat innovative. Maybe. But at the same time, not really. I wouldn't say that it's like a next-gen thing, it's just it's Skyrim in space, but at the same time, I just want to point this out, that in the last category that I was taking a look and I showed all the finalists and stuff, I'm going to show the finalists here towards the middle of this video, so don't worry about it, but just know that everyone's getting upset because of the awards for this, and for some of the other ones, we'll get into that, but let's continue here.
Look, man, as the resident Starfeild defender, no. It's kind of sad because it looks like Starfeild was probably just a troll vote. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online wins major Steam award for continuously supported by developer. It hasn't seen a single update since 2021. Yeah, so it just seems like this is silly. I do laugh about the fact that freaking Bethesda is just choosing to embrace it. Hey, thanks for all that support. We won most innovative gameplay.
That's probably just a candid tweet that they just happen to have. I don't know if they actually have a social media marketing person working that situation. If they do, Godspeed. But here's the thing. Yeah, of course they're going to do that. Of course they're going to embrace it and talk about it. Why the fuck wouldn't they? It's good marketing. It's great marketing. It's absolutely fantastic marketing, actually, in a lot of cases. There is no way that you can say that a company winning an award over all of the other games, even if it's just like a silly award, like, you can't be angry at the fact that they did that. You can clown on them, you can criticize them, absolutely. But you can't be like, oh, well, they're actually embracing it and stuff. Yeah, of course they're going to embrace it. It's because it gives them more eyes on their content. Like, that's not... I know I'm getting a little angry over this, and I know that I'm kind of defending the social media big Bethesda games like that. Like, I'm not. Like, until you can get at this from a purely business standpoint. Do I agree with it? I mean, I understand it. Do I agree with it? Fuck no. It's stupid. It's a dumb, stupid award that people are getting upset about now. God, I'm actually going to be defending this. This is weird.
Oh my gosh. People saying this game is better than sleep medication. Okay, so this is actually a tweet I wanted to look at. It's a couple in a row, and I think it brings up some interesting points about why popular votes, as fun as they are, as good as they can quickly go off the rails. This is why public voting for awards needs to be vetted in some way. Now, this person is definitely saying it's not that these are illegitimate or, fake. It's the fact that there does need to be some taste tester. There does need to be somebody to keep it at least slightly on the rails. I may disagree with the Game Awards 90% of the time, but having an educated board choose the winners is a better way than random gamers.
Here's the big question that I think some people have posed. At least I'm going to pose it here. And I know one other person at least agrees with me on this, and it's why. Because here's the thing. I get vetting. I get vetting some of the troll votes out there. Absolutely. Vetting those troll votes is important to do because some people will try to do that. But here's one of, if not the biggest things with that. They should be vetted in a way that makes sense. And here is a lot of the methods of how as far as we know, the actual Steam Awards work. They are 100% community voted, and each Steam account gets one vote per one category. Okay? Each Steam account gets one vote per one category. How is that not regulation already? Imagine if you could go and just completely and utterly make or vote 5 times for your one account. That would be unregulated as fuck. But what they're doing is, again, they have one vote per category per Steam account. So you get a maximum, I think there's 10 categories. You get a maximum of 10 votes, and only those votes can go to one category each. And they're used in the games you have actually played and or reviewed, so you actually have experience with those games. Meaning it's a popularity context. It's purely democratic. Very purely democratic, by the way. It's there's very little regulation in this, other than the one vote thing. And then, when the finalists are happening in Stage 2, because it's a 2 out of 3 winning award thing, that's when the awards and breakdowns happen. People are upset because the winners aren't exactly what they wanted them to be, because if you, again, look at the actual finalists and stuff, you might see why certain games become winning. And it comes down to, from a purely, business, marketing-ish type standpoint, the reason why those winners became the winners is because people recognize them. That's one of, if not the biggest things. The reason why there's a lot of regulation, at least in terms of the TGA, is so that way they have all these sponsors and stuff. But the Game Awards is a small little stupid thing that happens every year that people get upset about because it's just really weird awards. Also, by the way, I do know who this is. This is actually SkyMim, who I believe is like a TF2 YouTuber. That's not like a disgrace or anything bad to that. She's a medic main, so congratulations, you are in pain a lot. Jokes for TF2, I guess. But no, it's not that I'm disrespecting her or anything like that. I agree that there might need to be some regulation, but I don't see the full point as to what regulation they could do outside of what they've already done.
So, yeah, it's always about trying to find that happy medium between big corporate event and fan-chosen polling because, yeah, this is just purely fake. Red Dead Redemption has not been updated in years. Starfeild has to be an early April Fool's joke. I don't even need to clarify why it doesn't deserve this award. Last of Us soundtrack is great, but it's a port from 2020. All the finalists were robbed.
I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's like, how much regulation do you want to put into something like this that's a purely fan-voted thing? And then you end up with like that whole slippery slope type of fallacy, if you really think about it.
One of my biggest issues is that games have been ported that year are eligible for pretty much every category, regardless of how old they are or what they actually are. Ports need to be treated differently. Second year in a row that soundtrack has been sniped by a late port. Now,
I tend to agree a little bit with that one, though.
This is a good point. Stuff like Hi-Fi Rush, which you can actually see here as best soundtrack, all of these have better soundtracks.
I would agree that Hi-Fi Rush has a better soundtrack. Not some of the other ones. Maybe Tactica might have a better one. Or like on the same level as Hi-Fi Rush, but Hi-Fi Rush got robbed. That's my personal opinion.
I like The Last of Us Part 1 soundtrack a lot, but to say it's better than Hi-Fi Rush or something like Pizza Tower, like, I will agree with the fact that this is just silly. This is people picking it just to be goofballs. Now, a lot of people are talking about the fact that the reason that Starfeild was selected was definitely just a protest vote, to be ridiculous on purpose, because right now the game is absolutely hated. It's absolutely getting destroyed. It's now under 30% on Steam. This is one of the highest budget review failures of all time. And you know what? As a person that's played a lot of Starfeild, the game definitely deserves the hate it gets. In fact,
actually, highest budget review failures of all time. I think that No Man's Sky would like to have a little bit of a word with you. But moving on to what he actually said, I'm going to skip past his little more rant here and explain a little bit more in detail as to why I think he's just fucking wrong in this context. And the main reason why I think that he's just wrong in this context is because, again, it may have been a troll vote, but if you look at all the winners, a lot of the actual winners, or at least the ones that are the majority there, seem to be very well-known titles, right? Like, if you look at all of the finalists and you look at all of the actual winners, you tend to see a pattern, at least in this context. The reason why a lot of these are actually winners is because, well, they were awarded that for the fact that they were very well known. And since we're talking about Starfeild specifically, let's just run down the finalists for where Starfeild was. Here's the actual finalists. I took a screenshot for them. The actual finalists for this game, for this specific innovation in award things, it might have looked vastly differently had the voting gone differently. Now, here's my next question. How many of these games do you recognize, and how many of them do you think you actually had a good time with this year in this context? For those of you who are trying to struggle to figure out from what these games are, from right to left by here, you have Your Only Move is Hustle. It's a tactical turn-based 2D fighter that's an indie early access game. I think it has around 4,000 views in total, like in its lifetime. The Shadows of Doubt, which is an immersive detective sim that looks like it's out of the good PS2 era with very voxel-like graphics and very well done immersive sandbox type city. And also, by the way, I think has around maybe 10,000-ish views in its lifetime, by the way. You then have Starfeild, a Bethesda RPG that tends to have a lot more loading screens and is very boring in a lot of contexts. Yeah. Then you have Remnant 2, a sequel to Remnant from the Ashes, which was a third-person action Souls-like genre that had not an expansive amount and was quite also boring, and was also a sequel to a very underrated game in my personal opinion, and was also a Souls-like. So, again, a lot of that working against it as well. And then you have Contraband Police, which is a simulator-type Papers, Please knockoff, where it takes place in what I would call the simulator engine, which is basically the same engine that a lot of these other games that are like farming sim or whatever take place in. A pretty janky engine that doesn't really have a lot of stuff going for it, and is also a first-person shooter for some reason. It's like, again, when you compare the actual games that were the finalists in this, which one of those do you think a lot of people would tend to vote correct or vote up or vote on? Yeah, most likely Starfeild, even though it wasn't there in the first place. And yeah, certainly, maybe some people or a lot of people actually voted for this game to get into the finalists as a joke, being like, haha, wouldn't it be funny? But it still made it to the finalists, and then it still ended up winning. Even though, in looking at this list here, Your Only Move is Hustle is something that I don't personally like. That sounds innovative. A 2D turn-based fighting game. That sounds awesome. Shadow of Doubt. That one probably has more gameplay depth in its right pinky toe than the entirety of Starfeild. Remnant 2, even though it's a Souls-like, it still has a lot more gaming and RPG mechanics than Starfeild, in my personal opinion, and does its actual world-building and stuff correctly. And then finally, you have Contraband Police, a simulator game that, even though it's janky, bug-ridden, and, you know, kind of a stupid Papers, Please knockoff, is still, like, on the same level. It's okay. Like, that's the thing. A lot of people are complaining and talking about, oh, the most innovative gameplay award should be games that are, like, super really good for this. But at the same time, when you have an entire list like this, you can see why people get it. You can see why it ended up winning. In any case, I think that I've gone on this rant enough. I don't want to spend too much more time on this, and quite frankly, I don't want to spend any more time with DreamCast Guy, because quite honestly, I don't think he's going to make any other points necessary for this, so I'm going to tap out of this one personally. In any case, my name is GamePanel21. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to try to hit 1K subscribers. If you like what it is that I do, want to support me in any way, shape, or form, please feel free to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and support me down below with all of my music, all of my Gumroad, all of my Patreon and stuff, all of that stuff listed down in the description below. In any case, I think that'll about... I've already done that outro. DreamCast Guy, welcome to the channel. Hopefully you can stick around for some more spankings. My name is GamePanel21, and a peace.
Hey man!